Banger after banger.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy Big Hero Chris back at you with another one. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe, give me a thumbs up, ring the notification bell, hit me up on social media, Twitter, TikTok, the community post when I post whatever, you already know how I get down, you already know the vibes. And I'm back at you with your AEW Dynamite review. And it's off the back of a successful event from AEW All In from Wembley Stadium in London, England, man. It was beautiful. It was a phenomenal show. It was some great wrestling. It was an overall great show, but like I talked about in my review, it wasn't all perfect. Of course, anytime you have a successful event, you have a big thing happen in AEW, it seems like CM Punk has to, do something, or something happens revolving CM Punk, and it takes away from the superstars, the wrestlers, the talent, all the work they put in, the show quality, the matches, like all that is kind of playing backseat to the drama going on or surrounding CM Punk and Jack Perry. They had a backstage altercation, and then since All Out or All In, you had multiple news sources and reports saying that CM Punk's been suspended, Jack Perry's been suspended. CM Punk didn't find out from AEW, he had to find out from his own attorney, and it's just a whole big mess going on, man. And I feel like at this point in life, this is like the annual thing now. Like every year around this time, something has to involve CM Punk, and it takes away from whatever event's going on. So with that, as well as the fact that there is a hurricane, and then I believe that some people are sick, and then on top of that, Tony Khan granted people time off if they wanted to grieve over the passing of Bray Wyatt. So there's all these things happening, and on top of all that, you have All Out coming up this Sunday. Dynamite wasn't all too good. Now, given the fact that, like I said, you have the storm and the hurricane and travel issues and people taking time for Bray Wyatt, I'm not gonna be as super harsh as I could be, but the show wasn't good. It wasn't all that good, especially the fact that All In just happened, and then this is technically the go home show for All Out. It wasn't all that good. It had some good stuff on the show, but it wasn't all that good, man. But let's get into this review, man. Let's get into this card. Let's get into this show. Let's talk about it. So the show opened up with a video package, hyping up the fact that All In was such a huge success. It showed the highlights, the good stuff, everything that happened surrounding the show. And then after that, we got into Jon Moxley versus Commander, and this was an okay match. It was decent. It wasn't really too much to write home about. Jon Moxley won. He ended up choking Commander out. And this was kind of really setting up the main event between Penta and Orange Cassidy for the International Championship. And whoever won this match, or whoever won the main event, would face Jon Moxley at All Out for the International Championship. And also throughout the show, you had promos from Orange Cassidy and Jon Moxley and Penta, saying, oh, well, this is what the International Championship means to me. I'm going to try, or Zero Medio, or, this is going to be the new Workhorse Championship, or whatever, And I'm going to just go ahead and just jump to the main event, which was between, like I said, Penta and Orange Cassidy. And this match was really dope. It was a really fun match. Like, it was a good main event. Good match. Real solid. Penta hitting Canadian Destroyers, and not Jon Moxley, but Orange Cassidy hitting Canadian Destroyers. And I like the fact that they're continuing the story of Orange Cassidy being beat up and banged up and, hurt. And each match, it just gets more bruised and beat up, and he's just hurt, man, and he's tired. But the International Championship brings out something different in Orange Cassidy. The match was solid. Orange Cassidy ended up beating Penta with a surprise roll-up. And then after the match, Orange Cassidy cut this really fire promo saying that Jon Moxley, your ass is grass at All Out, pretty much. He was saying that the International Championship means more to him than anything. You know, kind of reiterating what he said earlier in his pre-tape promo. And then after this, John Moxley came out, got into Orange Cassidy's face. They shoved for a little bit. John Moxley gave him the double birds, and he walked off. That's how the show ended. I'm like, okay, that was a pretty solid main event. As far as for what happened in between the opening contest and the main event, so you had a whole bunch of backstage segments, a whole bunch of pre-tapes. One of them was the Young Bucks being interviewed after their match with FTR, and they were saying that it sucked that they lost because All In was supposed to be their show, it was supposed to be their night, it was supposed to be their moment. They were supposed to recapture the AEW Tag Team Championships. And then FTR pulls up and they're like, yo man, we try to show you guys love, we try to show you respect. And the Young Bucks were like, hey man, we're sorry, we're being sore losers and blah blah blah, we're just upset and frustrated. And then out of nowhere, the Bang Bang Gang showed up along with Card Blade, and I was like, hooray, Card Blade is here. So they pretty much Jay White pretty much laid out the challenge at All Out. Is going to be the Bullet Club Gold taking on the team of the Young Bucks and FTR. I'm like, okay, this kind of came out of nowhere, but it should be fun. I was hoping we would see a rematch between FTR and Young Bucks, and not saying that can't happen in the future, but this should be a fun match, a fun 8-man tag team match between these two teams. After this, we had another backstage segment with Toni Storm talking about the happenings of All In and the fact that Saraya is the new AEW Women's Champion. And Toni Storm, she's just losing her mind each week more and more and more. She's saying, I can't trust Saraya, and I can't trust Ruby Soho, and I can't trust my shoes. I'm like, what is she? Did the bean kick in? What is she talking about? But apparently, she is going to have a trios match this Saturday on Collision with the Outcast and the team of Britt Baker, Chris Statlander, and Sheeta. And later in the night, that team ended up wrestling Amy Sakura, Naga Rose, and Marina Shafir. And it was what it was, the faces ended up winning, but there was some interesting goings on during the match. You had a little bit of tension between Britt Baker and Hikaru Shida, but then after the match, Ruby Soho ended up attacking Chris Statlander, setting up for their match at All Out. So there's little things being set up for the women's division. You got the possible feud, the continuing feud between Shida and Britt Baker. You have the match between Ruby Soho and Chris Statlander. You have what's going on between the Outcasts as a whole. Are they still together? Are they going to break up eventually? Or are they going to finally put us out of our misery and, just break this group up? So there's some interesting stuff going on with the women's division. So it's not too bad. Chris Jericho's out in the ring. He's talking, he's saying words, and then he's like, listen, I feel bad for how I treated Sammy Guevara. Sammy, come on out so I can apologize. And then Sammy Guevara comes out, and it starts off friendly. They're like, hey man, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to treat you that bad or whatever, and blah blah blah. And I saw what you did. I saw how you hit Will Ospreay in the face with the baseball bat. But this is where it gets real, because Chris Jericho was like, listen, maybe if you would have hit Will Ospreay a little bit harder, I would have won. And Sammy took exception to that. He was like, yo man, it's not my fault you lost. Maybe if you would have hit the Judas effect a little bit harder, maybe you would have won. And then it gets a little heated. They have exchanged words. Chris Jericho talks shit about how Sammy Guevara couldn't win the AEW championship. Sammy Guevara talks shit about how after Chris Jericho won his first AEW championship, he lost it in Jacksonville. So it was just a little bit of tension between these two. And I'm thinking, all right, maybe this is going to set up a match between these two at All Out. Wrong. What we ended up getting was Chris Jericho apologizing and Sammy falling for it again. And now they're going to have a match next week for the AEW Tag Team Championships against FTR. And I've noticed that every few months they do this. They tease tension between Sammy and Chris Jericho. They tease the big blow up. They tease the match. But then it's like, we're just going to reformulate sex guys and everything's cool. Rinse and repeat. And they just keep doing this whole thing over and over again. And at this point, I'm like, are y'all going to break up or fight or what, man? Can we just get to the part where y'all fight? But it's building. It's coming, I guess. Who knows? So after this, we had an New Japan Open Heavyweight Championship match between Will Yuta and the champion Eddie Kingston. And Eddie Kingston, man, he's the man. I love Eddie Kingston. This match was pretty solid. It was a pretty fun match between Utes and Kingston. Eddie Kingston ended up getting the win. No surprise there. But after the match, you had Claudio come out and check on Yuta. And Eddie Kingston's talking shit to Claudio, but Claudio's not really giving him the time of day. He's not really paying Eddie any attention. He just gets Yuta and he goes back. And I'm thinking, it would be pretty cool because you have All Out, but I don't think it's going to happen at All Out. I think what's going to happen is you're going to have Claudio versus Eddie Kingston at Grand Slam, and that's where Eddie Kingston finally finishes the story and beats Claudio for the Ring of Honor World Championship. That's what I think is going to happen. That's what I hope happens. It will make the most sense because Eddie's a New Yorker. Grand Slam is taking place in New York, so that will make the most sense, and it will be a huge pop for Eddie Kingston. Speaking of Grand Slam, you cut back to another backstage pre-tape with MJF and Adam Cole. MJF's talking about how his neck hurts. He's gonna take some time off and spend some time in Paris. Adam Cole's like, listen, that's cool and all, you deserve it. But in the meantime, between time, on Rampage this Friday, there's going to be a tag team battle royale. Another battle royale to determine who will be the number one contenders for the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships. And whoever wins the battle royale will face Adam Cole and MJF at All Out. And on top of all that, starting next week, there's going to be another tournament. Tony Khan loves his tournaments. It's going to be a tournament to see who faces MJF at Grand Slam for the AEW World Championship. And then you cut to in ring. Adam Cole comes out. He's giving story time with Adam Cole. He's saying that All In was a huge night for him. It was like a dream come true. Even though he didn't win the AEW Championship, he does want another shot somewhere down the line. But then you have the man come out. You have simp ass Roderick Strong come out, and he's like, Adam, and he's crying like a bitch. He has the Kingdom with him, and the Kingdom's trying to talk, and nobody cares what the Kingdom has to say. But they're pretty much talking about how they know Adam Cole better than anybody else. And they were saying that Adam Cole, he's kind of a bad friend. Like, he's selfish. He only thinks about himself. He uses people around him to get himself ahead. He did that with the Kingdom back in Ring of Honor. He did that with Bullet Club back in the day. He did it with the Undisputed Era. And they're accusing him of doing the same thing with MJF. And Adam Cole's like, listen, MJF is actually my friend. And you guys are my friends too. And the Kingdom, they're not trying to hear none of it. And then you have Roderick Strong announce that he is going to be in the tournament to possibly face MJF at Grand Slam. And I started thinking that might actually be a pretty good match. You have two best friends fighting over the affection of Adam Cole. That should be an interesting outcome. I actually wouldn't mind seeing Roderick Strong win the whole thing and face MJF. So that might be the wave. That might be what happens. So yeah. Callis was all over the show. First, he had a backstage segment with Sammy Guevara. And I started thinking, I'm like, yo, your guy, Takeshita, is wrestling Kenny Omega this Sunday. Shouldn't you be with him? Shouldn't you be focusing more on Takeshita instead of Chris Jericho and Sammy? But Sammy's not trying to hear what Don Callis has to say. He tells him, get out of here, Don Callis. But then you cut to later in the show where Don Callis is with Takeshita, and he's kind of giving him the rundown. He's kind of giving him the game plan as far as, these are all Kenny Omega's weaknesses, and blah, blah, blah. So there's that. So yeah, that was pretty much hyping up the Kenny Omega Takeshita match. And we didn't see Kenny Omega on the show, but again, I'm assuming it's due to either travel issues or sickness or whatever. I don't know. But yeah, that's going to take place at All Out. Speaking of All Out, we have Samoa Joe defending the Ring of Honor Television Championship against Shane Taylor. And I'm like, yo, that's major. Shane Taylor versus Samoa Joe. Two big meaty men bumping meat. I ain't even mad at it. But now we have the last thing I have to talk about as far as the show goes. And that's the Acclaimed, who are the new AEW Trios Champions. And they're coming out, they're doing their thing. Max Caster's rapping, and everyone's scissoring and wearing pink and blah blah blah. And they're pretty much saying that, listen, this is a new era. This is a new era for as far as the Trio Championships goes. Say goodbye to the House of Black and hello to the House of Ass. Because Daddy Ass is back with the Acclaimed. And then they revealed the fact that they have new designs for the for the AEW Trios Championships. Instead of them being black, they're now pink, and where the belts connect, they connect like scissors. So yes, because they scissor and it's pink. So yeah. Also, the Acclaim will defend their newly found AEW Trio Championships this Saturday on Collision against Daniel Garcia and 2.0. So yeah, that should be an interesting match. You have the Acclaim doing the scissoring, you have Daniel Garcia doing his dance, you have Daddy Magic talking about his nipples, so that should be a fun match. Pretty sure CM Punk will be on the show because he is suspended. And one last thing I'm going to say as far as the whole CM Punk situation, which really sucks, is according to rumors online, the main event for the show was supposed to be CM Punk versus Ricky Starks in a strap match for the real AEW World Championship. And because this whole suspension takes place, it sucks for Ricky because now he won't be able to wrestle on the show. I'm pretty sure he's going to be on the show in some way, shape, or form. But it sucks because, it's taking away an opportunity for him to, wrestle once again for the AEW World Championship. So yeah, there's that, man. But as far as Dynamite goes, it was mid, man. It was honorary mid. There was good stuff on the show, but for the most part, I didn't really care. It didn't really seem like a show off the back of one of AEW's biggest shows ever, and it didn't seem like a go-home show for another AEW staple, which is taking place in Chicago. It was mid, man. Dynamite was mid this week. I was gonna say it was bad, but given the situations and the circumstances surrounding Dynamite, I'm gonna just keep it even and say it was mid. But I would love to hear you guys' thoughts in the comment section below. Of course, as always, like, comment, and subscribe. You guys take care. Be easy. I'm out. Peace.